So the big question is this: how are real estate agents like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital and are spending money from our own pockets, how do we compete with these billion-dollar real estate tech companies and iBuyers in a way that lets us bring our services and the things we believe in out into the world and still remain profitable? That's the big question. And on this podcast, we'll give you the answers. Welcome to the iBuyer experiment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. We have an amazing guest today, Mr. GSD Mode himself, Joshua Smith. Josh is an amazing entrepreneur. He has multiple businesses, software developer, a coach, a mentor, a keynote speaker. I mean, this guy's accolades and success track record in the real estate space and health supplement space is monumental. And so, I mean, almost so much that if I was to go through the list of everything, we'd probably burn the whole entire 25 minutes going through all of his stuff. So what's up, man? How you doing today?
What's going on, Josh?
I'm doing good, man. Stoked to be here, and I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of kick us off today, what are you seeing in your real estate space? I mean, I guess one of the other things that is super important for our listeners to realize is that you're still running a ultra high-powered, successful real estate team and a brokerage of over 3,000 agents. I saw that you guys just, are still, I think number 2 in production over the, My Home Group. Just a huge team. What are you seeing? What's the vibration? What are you guys doing to stay so relevant in today's ultra competitive market?
Yeah, dude, I mean, there's so much that goes into that. Yeah, right. I was just having a conversation with a buddy of mine, Leo Pareja, who's the owner of Remine, and he was the number one KW agent in the world before he started Remine. And, we were talking about how it's like every year now. So in like the last 12 months, we've seen more changes take place in the other 16 years of our career, And those are, I'm not talking about changes because of COVID. I mean, those are changes that took place that we all had to adapt to, but it's just the rate that change is taking place, and with technology, technology is expanding exponentially, not linear. So the growth is going to continue to be more rapid. And so really it boils down to two things. Number one, we as real estate professionals need to be willing to embrace change at a higher level than ever before. So many people are fearful of change. And it's like, dude, if we break it down, the one inevitable thing that we can all be sure of and guaranteed of in this life is change. Things are always changing, moving, shaking, adapting, nothing stays stagnant. And so many people have an issue with change. And for those that do, and aren't willing to adapt and shift and move at quicker paces than ever before, are going to be left behind. So, right. Don't fear it. Don't have resistance to it. Embrace it. Run to it, and just understand that you're probably going to have to keep continuing to pull that rug out from underneath your feet on a consistent basis, because changes happen rapidly. Then the second component is it used to be one of these things where, look, if you put your clients' needs first, you worked your ass off. Like if you just worked your ass off and did good by your clients, that you could go out there and become a top producer in this industry. And it's like those things that used to allow you to take you to the top are now just kind of the ante to be in the game. Those are just kind of the given things just to survive, not thrive. Now more than ever, and in addition to that, you got to be a brilliant operator. If you aren't a brilliant operator, dude, you're going to be survival mode, not thrive mode. And by a brilliant operator, I mean, the mindset of a true entrepreneur, of a business owner. You got to understand businesses, systems, processes, how to leverage pieces of technology, how to go out there and strategize and, play chess, not checkers, if you will.
Yeah. I love that you touched on the brilliant operator piece, just because, again, as we grow with Zoodealio, we're seeing more of these larger scale, teams come in place, like a lot of these EXP people, right? And they're having to be those brilliant operators, because part of that model is they need to be able to hang on those teams, and attract them and give them the ability to compete, in today's market. And I mean, honestly, for somebody that's been doing it as long as you're like the best in the business at keeping people around and keeping large scale running teams and, well-oiled systems and process. So,
it's one, like, I'm not the best of the best, when you put my numbers out there, I'm consistently always in the top 50 in the United States as far as a team, but it's not like, I've never hit that number one spot, right? But I will say this, that for over 16 years now, every single year, my business has grown, it has expanded, it has thrived, regardless of the marketplace. So even during the Great Recession and so forth, been able to go out there and shift and adapt. And people got to understand, and this is something I'm always pushing, not just to my agents, but my coaching clients and so forth, and just on my podcast as well. But it's operating from that mindset of there's no such thing as a good market or a bad market. The market is always good. The market's always great. As real estate professionals, it's our job to identify whom is the market good for, aka like where's that opportunity at? Where's the best opportunity? Where the market, because it's always great for somebody. Like right now, if we look at here in 2021, who's the market great for? It's great for one subset of clientele, which are sellers that can sell without that home. Like they don't need this home to sell to go out there and buy. There's no contingencies. They're able to go out there and sell. For everybody else, it pretty much sucks, right? But then we look at a declining market. Who's a declining market great for? Well, it's great for buyers in general. It's really good for move-up buyers, right? I mean, that's if you were to time it out in a perfect world, like move-up buyers want to buy during a declining market. It's great for investors. So at any given time, the market's always great for somebody. We just need to be able to pivot and identify whom it's great for. That becomes our ideal client and or ideal clients that then we are, positioning our focus, our marketing, our prospecting efforts to, because real estate's always trading hands. If you look at it historically, it's always trading hands, always is going to be trading hands. So if the game is selling real estate, like we got to know how to play the game, man, and know what that focus needs to be.
So it sounds like you're speaking to a lot of foresight there, and so let me just ask an open question on that. What do you see coming down the pike? Right now, we all know the change is coming. We all know more money, more disruption, higher tech. All those things are kind of coming into place. But how do you think that weighs into the normal practitioner, and how are you going to keep positioning your team, to handle all of this?
Yeah. So, dude, it's to predict what's going to happen in the future. It's so tough. A question that I'm sure you guys are getting on a daily basis, I get blown up with each and every day is the market going to crash? You can't go on YouTube without hearing, the Chicken Little, sky's falling, messages. And the reality is, dude, I have no freaking idea. Nobody has any freaking idea. We can look at certain markets and stock market, for example, and certain things that definitely appear to be in a bubble, but when it comes to real estate itself, I mean, it could be argued intelligently, on either side. So I don't know. I mean, at some point, is the market going to correct for sure? Right? Like trees don't grow forever, otherwise they'd be touching the sun, right? So eventually, what goes up must come down. I mean, it's a law of physics, right? So at some point, there's going to be a correction, but we don't know what that looks like and how severe and when it's going to take place. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's taking place between the Fed and moves the government's making that it isn't commonplace knowledge. It's not like the media is talking about this stuff, right? So, I mean, a lot of people think that, all this printing of money is going to lead to inflation per se, but then when you start looking like what our country's doing with swap lines and with these other countries, I mean, there's a lot of moves right now that are strengthening the dollar. So when it comes to that element, I don't know how that's going to go. All I know is we're going to be prepared. And when I say be prepared, man, you just pay attention, dude. You watch the important KPIs that you need to watch. You pay attention because markets never shift on a dime. Like if we look at, we'll just take our market here in Phoenix, anything under 3 months of inventory is seller's market. And then depending on how low it gets below that is the severity of it. You get that 4 or 5 months of inventory, that's going to be a neutral market. So that's in inflation, which the Fed tries to keep at 2%, which is the rate of growth of gold when we had the gold standard. So it's like inflation, +1, right? So that's kind of your 3 to 4%, average appreciation, whether you want to call it inflation or appreciation per year, however you want to frame that. And then when you get into the 6+ months, I mean, that's when we start entering a buyer's market. And then with the severity of that, you get 7 months, you start seeing a lot of short sales, getting 8 months, start seeing a lot more REO introduced. So as you're seeing these upticks, I don't need to wait until short sales or REOs hit. If I'm seeing the inventory increase, but let's just say 2 weeks every 30 days, well, I can start timing that out. If things continue at this pace, and if the signs indicate that they, are going to continue at that pace, I can time it out where I can be in that right position in 4 to 6 months. So if you're just paying attention and you're staying aware, of what the market's doing, there's plenty of time to go out there and shift and pivot. And then so you got that component of it. But then you got the component of, we got all the, technology that's changing the game in a way. Multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, if you will, disguise themselves as real estate companies, which creates a different, unique angle of it. And look, I believe that because there's so many moving parts to real estate, like I'm not one that believes that the real estate agent will become obsolete. At least not for some time, and at least not if we do our job as a real estate industry. I think the second that if we as a real estate community, meaning realtors here, if we allow this business to become transactional based versus relationship based, that is the danger really of us becoming more of a commodity and potentially becoming obsolete. So I think as long as we do our part and keep it relational, because there's so many moving parts when it comes to selling real estate.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Again, I don't like to say, this will never happen because who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. But I look, I'm game all in, man. I'm all in on real estate, right? I've invested my whole life savings into systems, tools, and technology for real estate agents. So, obviously I have a very high level of confidence that the real estate agent will be here for a long time. But with that being said, there are who knows what that's going to look like, man. Is it going to, okay. So I just went out and bought a new 55-inch LED, smart TV or whatever for my office. Now I remember when I bought, when LED TVs first came out. So this was 11 years ago. I went out there and bought a same size 55-inch LED TV, and it was $8,000 at the time. Dude, this one I bought far better, far superior technology, whatever. It was it was under $1,000. So if we look at all other industries, for the most part, things are becoming a superior product at lesser of a cost. And when you apply that to real estate commissions and so forth, we haven't really seen that same compression, in our space. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm definitely preparing for it. When I say preparing for it, it doesn't mean I'm executing on it, but I'm mapping this stuff out. And hey, if we have to go to, let's just say a flat fee, $2,000 model or a Redfin model, I've got it mapped out. It's theory, but I've got it mapped out of how we could pivot and how we could position and how we could be still profitable at that model. But then at that point, that does get to the point where when I talk about embracing technology and becoming a great practitioner, and becoming really good at systems processes and leveraging technology for automation and so forth, right? It then becomes a volume game. So, you've got to be able to adapt with that. So, I don't know what the future is going to hold. All I know is I'm always preparing to be prepared.
You said something that was interesting that really caught my attention. You said that us as realtors can't allow the business to become transactional rather than relational. And I know you are amazing at creating content. You're a content creator. You have been for years. In my opinion, that's kind of one of the ways we can scale relationships is through technology. So I kind of want to get your wisdom for creating content. And if you could just give our listeners just the highlight reel of maybe some of your content milestones and accomplishments, because I know there are a lot of them. And then maybe share with us kind of what you think realtors could be doing to leverage creating content in a way that you've done.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so here's, I guess to put this at a high level, okay, I don't invest any money with third party services like Zillow, or in our market we can't anymore, but most markets you still can, right? However, I spend a lot of time on Zillow still, and even though I don't do business with them, I spend time on their website. And why is that? It's because they're the juggernaut, they own the eyeballs, right? So I want to know, okay, well, what does Zillow do a good job at, and then where are they falling short at? So when I look at that as an example, so let's just say people that are buying, your traditional real estate, people that are buying regular homes. So there's really two parts to it. You got when they turn that doorknob and enter that home, what's happening with the house itself. That's what Zillow, you can try to dog on the app, whatever. People love it. Numbers don't lie. So they do a great job at that. But then when you leave that house, when you turn the doorknob and leave the house, you got your life outside of that house. That's equally as important to people as they're making these purchase decisions and so forth. Right? So I look at that, I'm like, okay, well, again, how can we as a real estate professional bring value in a way that these other, companies aren't? How can we fill that void that the consumer wants and needs that doesn't exist? Right? So then I'm just going to fill that. I'm going to be that bridge. I'm going to be that information portal bridge that people can't find. So that's what I'm going to create content around. So if all these, with the IDX and, again, Zillow, Realtor.com and so forth, if people can see everything that they need to see with homes, what can't they not see? They don't know, especially now with people relocating on such a big scale, moving out of the cities to the suburbs and so forth.
Yeah.
And fleeing different states to move to more lucrative states. They don't know what lifestyle's like. They don't know what the schools are like. They don't know what it's like to live in that area. So become that information portal. So that really becomes around like my content creation strategy, if you will, is just being strategic with delivering content that the consumer wants, that's important to them when they're making this decision, but that isn't readily available. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever, tried to relocate out of state or looked at that, but dude, it is very difficult to go out there and again, see what life is like outside of that home. What's the neighborhood like? What are the parks like? What are the hiking trails like? What are the local gyms? What are the, at one point several years ago, we were looking at relocating to Illinois. And, I had my realtor go film the grocery store aisles of showing us the organic food options, just 'cause that stuff's important to us. I had him stopping by, right? Okay, well, here's my office building. Here's the driveway of the house. What are the two gyms, within that drive route, and go in and film those, and, have him go film the schools and all that shit. The only way for me to see him otherwise would be to jump on an airplane. So becoming that information portal for the consumer, to get because at the end of the day, it's just getting eyeballs on you. If we look at the overall name of the real estate game, it's to get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, follow up frequently, and your business continues to grow. Yep. So you want them thinking, you want to own that mind share when they're thinking of making a buying or selling decision, that boom, you're their go-to person. Right. So you got to, in order to create that awareness, build that likability, build that trust, you got to give them valuable content that matters to them. And, my number one rule of thumb so many people get so caught up in editing and how pretty the video is and how cool it looks and, all of this stuff, dude. I operate by one thing is just, okay, when they push that play button, by the time they push that play button and they get done with that video, it has that person that's on the other end of that watching that video, is their life improved in some form or fashion. Now, it can be something small, I don't know, the other day I got locked in my office because I was installing a new doorknob. So I didn't do a video of how to pull it in. I'm not a handyman. I don't know how, So that video, even though it's something small, dude, that improved my life because it got me out of my office, so I didn't have to kick down a door, right? So,
were you thinking about it? Were you I'm going to kick this door down? You're pretty strong. You work out.
It was close. But anyway, with that though, it's their life is improved. It's added value, and if you create that, putting that consistent content out there. And the cool thing is it's easier today than ever before. It's and I'm going through this switch too personally, where I used to have videographers follow me around, and all this, I have $100,000 of film equipment, and that I've accumulated over the years. And now it's just dude, everything from the iPhone, everything from our phone. Right? We need to be able to shoot on the go, shoot fast. And now there's so many amazing apps and just inexpensive mics, to go out there and do this. And phones have just gotten you can shoot with let's just say the new iPhone, and then you could go shoot with a 4K DSLR. If you, let's just say you have a gimbal, so it's staying flat and so forth. And then you edit those two videos. You can't tell if it's shot through the $7,000 camera or the $1,000 phone, right? So, but consistency of content is huge. And then,
well, let's talk consistency and content, because you have been very consistent.
Podcasts.
Yes. How many podcasts
or interviews,
podcast interviews. Yeah. Just the whole conglomerate.
I can't imagine how many referrals you're getting from all those agents all around the country.
Well, I think consistency is
that'd be amazing.
It comes to a lot. Not just referrals from, people that are buying, moving here, that are looking to buy and sell here, but then, it's teammates, the majority of my agent recruits and so forth, come. So it's multifaceted. And look, I didn't really intentionally start the podcast. It was one of those things where, when on your success journey, people can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm self-made," and I could argue that and say that as well. Like I've never taken a loan from anybody. I've bootstrapped everything, if you will. However, man, I've had so many mentors and so many people that have poured into me and that gave me their time and their knowledge base, took time out of their busy lives away from their families and so forth, that there's no way I could have ever repaid them, but they gave me that time. And as you create more and more success yourself personally, this might sound cliche and whatever, but it's your way of paying it forward, where you over time develop this a feeling of obligation, like now you need to do your part and give back and be that to others. Well, it got to the point where, dude, like I couldn't go out to coffee anymore. Like let people take me out to lunch because I was just so busy with everything. And I had so many people wanting to do that. So it got to the point where I was just like, dude, just send me your question. Other people have these questions too. I'll just answer it and throw it up on YouTube. So before the podcast really even started, man, I had like 300 and some videos that I produced and put out there. And then, the podcast started just from being on other people's podcasts. And I was already starting a following on my YouTube channel at that point. And dude, and again, no other intention. Like I had no idea where any of this was going. But then as I was getting interviewed on these other podcasts, it was like, man, like I just love learning from others. I'm a student of the game. I don't care if you're a brand new agent or if you've been doing this for 40, 50 years. It's like, I love to learn. Right. So I'm like, all right, great way to go out there and self-development, pick the brain of others, share it with others. And then too, on it, call me arrogant, call me cocky. I'm getting interviewed by these other podcast hosts. I'm like, dude, I think I can just do a better job by asking better questions. Like I always felt like they're asking me the wrong question, because a lot of the people at that time, there's only a few of them at that time. This was about 6-7 years ago. As far as big podcasters, like none of them were actually in real estate. They weren't top producers themselves, right? So, they like there's a different conversation that you and I can have, you guys, because we're all, been in this game for a long time, right? So, so it just started from that, dude. Like I had no idea where any of this was going. And that was about 6 years ago. And it's been, 3 to 5 pieces of content every week for the last almost 6 years now.
Wow.
Top three.
That's not counting the
top 3 podcasts, Josh.
I put on before that.
What's your top 3 podcasts or interviews that you've done?
Ooh.
Top 3 is in what?
Yeah, it's
the
most exciting,
favorite?
your most favorite. Like, hey, I learned a lot from this interview.
Yeah, dude, it's such a tough thing because
on the spot there.
Well, it's not to make other guests feel bad. It's just there's been so many different reasons of others that have, So when I wanted to set some goals, because with podcasts, I never cared to monetize it. I still don't accept sponsors. I've never cared to monetize it. So I was like, all right, well, how do I know if I'm winning at this? So I was like, all right, I need to build it big enough where I can get 2 guests on and that would be winning. So at the time I was Grant Cardone and then, my favorite serial entrepreneur of all time, Ryan Blair. So ended up getting both those guys on. So that was a huge milestone for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just getting them on and with those goals. Dude, like Jay Samit was probably one of the most impactful for me personally. So Jay Samit is, the dude's a billionaire, and he wrote an awesome book called Disrupt You, and so he was the guy that invented the essentially like the kiosk, like the airport kiosk.
Oh
Wow.
And he was the dude that shut down Napster, and this guy's just so brilliant but anyway, when we went into that, just it totally shifted my paradigm and my mindset of how to solve problems. And how to go out there and put things together. Like he was like, look, you don't need to be the inventor of the piece of technology. He's like, I'll give an example. And he talks about this in his book. He goes, there's this father that his son, like on accident, lost his arm. So he's got this, prosthetic, but at a young age, like they don't really have, nice fancy prosthetics because kids grow at such a rapid rate.
Sure.
And it's one of these things you go in his classmates, you think about an 8-year-old kid, like other 8-year-olds probably don't understand it. They got this funky thing. People are like weirded out by it. And his son's embarrassed and you're trying to solve a problem to like figure this out for his son. Like, so his son essentially wouldn't feel bad or get made fun of. So then he started thinking, like, how cool would it be, like, if my son had, like, I don't know, like an Iron Man arm, or like the different Marvel,
Bionic.
whatever. And then he started looking into it, and he's like, all right, well, we got this new 3D printing technology that they can print these prosthetics for cheaper and inexpensively. So long story short, he ends up getting with this 3D printing company, gets with Disney to license it, puts the pieces together. And then through all of that, I mean, the dude's now, I mean, his company's hundreds of millions of valuation of a company, right? Through, I mean, he didn't invent, he just solved the problem, put the pieces together, right? So, and there's just story after story after story that he went through with that. And cool. it was a big mindset shift for me. And, so that's been one of the most powerful, like, just for growth for me of, I always look at things that, like, I got to be the inventor or the doer of it versus just putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the best inventor is the one that simplifies, like you said, something complicated, brings worlds together, and it's almost a new invention when you simplify it. So.
Very cool. Jay Sammy?
Samit.
Yeah, Jay Samit. I haven't heard that guy. I'm definitely going to.
Yeah, that was selfish on my part. I saw 1,100 podcasts, and I was like, hey, which one should I watch? So now I know which one to watch now.
Cool. Well, yeah, man, we like to keep these, hot and fast, and we are about out of time, man. You have brought so much. We'll have to have you back again because I feel like we just started to scratch the surface on some stuff. So you got any final parting words?
Just look, guys, like, there's going to be more opportunity going forward than we've ever seen before. Just be prepared for it. Embrace change. Look for those opportunities. Business is a zero-sum game, so somebody's always winning, somebody's always losing. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that lose. There'll probably be a lot. We'll probably start seeing a lot more agents drop out of this industry. It's going to get more and more challenging. But for those that are truly committed, that are willing to play the game at a higher level, that are truly committed to your own success, and that are obsessed over the client experience and solving the problems for your clients. Again, man, there's going to be more opportunities ahead than we've ever seen before. So, don't fear it, man. Embrace it and be excited about it, dude, because it's going to be a wild ride.
We love it. Thank you so much, Joshua. Man. We really appreciate you being here and dropping all that great knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, guys.
You're the best, man.
Right, have a good day, man.
Later.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch new podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.